Hi friends, it's Carl here with Calm Survival, and today we're going to put together all of the details that we've covered in all of those stove videos and build a bit of a matrix for you so that you can figure out which is going to be the appropriate choice to make for your backup, staying at home, power out cooking option. Now, might seem pretty obvious. The first thing we need to look at is how many people are we going to cook for? Easy mode is thinking about ourselves if we live alone, but the reality is you probably have roommates. We don't want to have a mutiny happen if you're the only one who can cook. But we have friends, we have family that stay over. So think about the size of the space you live in and how many people might be there if you're having to cook for them. Our house comfortably sleeps 4, so that's what my basic plan is for. And that's kind of what we're going to work from. After we've figured out how many people, then we know what sort of size of stove that we're going to be looking at. Now, obviously, this one's going to be too small to cook for 4. It doesn't fit a very big pot. It's going to be pretty slow. For 1 or 2, not the worst option, but we aren't needing its advantage of its size and weight. So we can go bigger, but maybe we do want this style of canister stove. We just want a bigger one. Maybe we've decided that we want a remote stove. Then we can look at the number of remote stoves that are going to fit within the other parameters that we have. Or maybe we've decided we want the convenience of the big flat top burner. And then we scale to where we need to be. Now, I can cook noodles for 1, nice and easy, or I can do bacon, eggs, and pancakes for 8. That's sort of the size range that we're looking at. And each of those form factors can be had, in the size that you think you need. Considerations to make when you're making your meals. Do you make more than one thing? Do you have to cook 2 things at once for a different diet? Are you going to have, kids helping cook? There's no reason that a kid can't be, if they can cook on a cooktop, well, they can cook on this one. Those Trangia stoves that we talked about before, very common with Boy Scouts and schools. Pretty easy, pretty safe to use with a little bit of supervision. That might be a great choice. Now, when we look at the rest of what we're going to pick, it can be super tempting to start making compromises to fit the stove that we're going to buy with another activity. The danger with that is if we make too many compromises, we're never going to be satisfied with either use. It's going to be maybe too heavy for backpacking or uses the wrong fuel for cooking at home. Or, on the other hand, we specialize too hard in one direction, and then, well, we're sacrificing when we don't need to. So be cautious with what the potentially conflicting priorities are between the 2 things or 3 things that you want to use that stove for. My suggestion is, if you're not doing very much camping or things like that, and these stoves are new to you, don't worry about those. Just focus on what you think you're going to use at home, what's going to be safe to use at home, and then as you learn, then you can start moving up the scale. Ultimately, you will save money that way because you're buying what you want. Now, keep in mind, even though you might own some of this stuff, if it's not integrated as part of your plan, it doesn't really count. It's just stuff. Stuff isn't preparation. Stuff isn't planning. Stuff isn't skill. So make sure that no matter what setup, whatever you end up with, make sure you integrate it into your plan. Make sure it works with your plan. And then that way, when that time comes that you need it, it's been there, it's been looked after, it's ready to go. Hopefully that gives you a bit more of an idea on what to look at. Obviously, there's so many different varieties and brands and things. I can't really cover them all because they change all the time. But hopefully I've given you the broad stroke details of what to actually look for and what features to look for so that you can then find your way to the end goal that's going to be suitable for you. Well, this has been another Calm Survival. I'm Carl, and we'll see you next time.